I'd like to call to order the regular scheduled meeting of the Rocky Mountain City Council. Thank everyone for being here. I'd like to ask everybody to please stand and observe a moment of prayer. Thank you. This time I'd like to ask the clerk if she'll please call the roll.
Councilmember Knight.
Here.
Blackwell. Joyner.
Here.
T.J. Walker. T.J. Walker. Daltrich.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Javaris Walker.
Okay, so we have Councilman Blackwell participating remotely, is that correct? You bet. I can't hear him. Is there any way we can get the volume up on it? Okay, very well. He is online? Okay, did you hear him? Get him in. Okay, with that said, at this time I'd like a motion for the consideration of the minutes of the regular scheduled city council meeting, which was held on May 22nd of 2023. Looking for a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Joyner, seconded by Harris. Is there a need for discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to have to ask for a voice vote for each and call the roll and get a vote, since we have two people offline or off-site online. So I'll hand it over to you, Kim. I'm sorry, clerk.
Councilmember Knight.
Yes.
Blackwell. Joyner. T.J. Walker. Daltrich.
Yes.
Harris.
Here. Yes.
Javaris Walker.
Okay, motion carries. This time I'd like to ask if there are any considerations for additions or deletions to the agenda.
Yes.
Councilman Knight.
Yes, I would like to add two items. Number one, 15% increase for sanitation workers. And the second one is a 6% COLA increase for employees who do not receive a 5% or more through the comp pay study.
Okay, let me see if I got that correct. So the motion is to add two items to the agenda, or really it's one motion. Or you want to vote for them each individually, or do you want to combine?
Separately.
Separately. First one is for 16% increase for sanitation workers. The second item that we will vote on, or assume it passes, is a 6% COLA adjustment for employees who did not get any increase in the current pay plan. Is my understanding correct?
5% or more from the comp study. So if they receive
Okay,
5%.
do not receive 5% or more from the pay study.
Correct.
I'll second both of those motions.
Okay, I have a motion to include as items, we'll call it 10 and 11. Item 10 is 15% increase for sanitation workers, and number 11 be a 6% COLA adjustment for employees who do not receive a 5% or more increase from the pay study. I have a second from Councilman Blackwell. Is there a need for discussion? This is to add it to the agenda. Hearing none, I'll ask City Clerk if you'll please call the roll, and let's vote when your name is called.
Councilmember Knight.
Yes.
Blackwell.
Yes.
Joyner.
Yes.
T.J. Walker.
No.
Daltrich.
No.
Harris.
No.
Javaris Walker.
No.
Okay, the items will not be added to the agenda tonight. Okay, that brings us to item number 6, which is community update. And this time I'll turn it over to our city manager, Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a few updates for the community this evening. The comedy Clue on Stage will be performed at our Imperial Center next week. The show times are 7:30 p.m. for the Thursday and Friday and Saturday show, also with a 2 p.m. matinee for the Sunday, October 8th show. Also, on October the 6th, The public is encouraged to attend our Faith in Blue prayer ceremony for our police department. It will begin at 10 a.m., excuse me. And finally, our First Friday celebration in downtown Rocky Mount will take place on that same day. That will be in the PM, and there will be a variety of activities taking place. And for more details, you can visit downtownrockymount.com. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments for City Manager?
Yes.
Councilman Knight, I recognize you.
I've been getting questions about the fire station number 2 update. Does it anything on that?
I'm sorry?
Fire station number 2 update. Is that still moving forward?
Yes, sir. The project is still moving forward, and we are planning to have an update provided at an upcoming committee of the whole for that project.
Okay, so they'll be coming up in the next, real soon in the committee of the whole? That's what you,
Yes, sir.
okay. And the second thing I want to ask you, is it a gag order on certain, on staff members speaking with council members? For, when we request public information from staff members, is it a restriction on staff speaking with council members?
Councilman,
council members.
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
For an example, if I'm in a meeting with constituents, and I ask, if a constituent asks a council member, how many officers do we have employed? And I look to the chief, is the chief allowed to give the council member that information?
I'm not sure about that example, but if you have any specific questions, Councilman, I'd be happy to get you some answers.
Well, the reason why I asked that, this came up before, and I just want to know, is it a certain restriction on certain council members? So I asked our city attorney, if it's public information, can that be withheld from council members?
It should not be withheld from council members if it's public information.
Okay, and how should council member proceed with that?
Well, the manager can set up a procedure for that,
Okay,
how that information is gotten out.
okay, so do we have that procedure? Because I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, Councilman, if you have any questions, you can let me know, and I can make sure that you and the council get the answers you're looking for.
Yeah, okay, and I would like to have that, whatever that procedure in writing, please. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments or questions for our City Manager? And Kirk, just so you know, because I can't hear very well online, if Councilman Walker or Councilman Blackwell, if you'll alert me, that would be helpful. Okay, hearing none, that moves us on to number 7. Petitions received from the public. The public petitions portion of the City Council meeting is an opportunity for public comment, and the City Council appreciates your attendance and thanks you for expressing your views and opinions. The City Council values all citizen input. This is an opportunity to raise a question or present a request to the council. However, in most cases, council members will not respond to public comments, but may refer a matter to the city manager or staff for follow-up. Time will be monitored in order to give everyone an opportunity to speak, and speakers will have 3 minutes. Please be aware that sign-in sheets must be presented to the security officer prior to the opening of the city council meeting. If an organized group is present to speak on a common issue, please designate one person to speak on behalf of the group. If your comments are in regard to an item that is the subject of a public hearing, please wait until that item is introduced to speak. Time will also be monitored. If your comments are in regard to an evidentiary hearing, additional time may be granted. The City Council requests you please adhere to the following guidelines. Complete a sign-in sheet, address comments to the council as a whole, and not individual council members or city staff. Speak from the podium in a civil, non-argumentative, and respectful manner. Personal attacks which have the potential to disrupt the meeting will not be tolerated, and you will be asked to sit down or removed from the meeting. Keep comments to 3 minutes. This time, I'd like to invite Mr. Richard Petway to the podium.
Good evening. I'm from Richard Petway, reside at 400 East Thomas Street, Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And I'm here to speak on why the city voted down giving the city employees a raise. We understand that it was 5-1. I also understand that the city manager elect that came into office gave the fire department and the police department a $60,000 raise, and the fire department is 25%. And all the city workers is asking for 15 and 5 and so on. But my understanding is this: why did it take so long for them to come up with a raise for the city employees, and then to vote it down after the 90 days that it was said that they were going to do something? And why did it take the city manager only a few months as in office to give the fire department and the police department a raise? Now, I understand the fire department and the police department do deserve a raise, but so do every employee with the city of Rocky Mount deserve a fair raise. And what they're not getting a fair raise. We have an election coming up. Matter of fact, the election starts today. And my understanding is that if you can't give us, the citizen or the city employees, a fair raise on their, so they can do the work properly, these people get out here and work daily, just like the police department and the fire department. They're on call. When something goes, hurricane come in, street department gotta go. And when trash build up and everything, they gotta call in the street environmental service. Water and sewage on call, but yet and still they can't get a fair raise. They can't get nothing fair coming from the city council. You have one person to vote for it, and the rest of them voted it down. Why? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Petway. This time I'd like to invite Mr. Clay Turner to the podium.
Good afternoon. I'm Clay Turner, and I've lived at 706 East Grand Avenue for the last 5 years. I moved to Rocky Mount from Durham, North Carolina, and I'm here today to support a pay raise for the city sanitation workers. Because I know that in my neighborhood, what we need more than a rookie cop riding through making $60,000 a year is we need folks in the neighborhood to have good jobs, good paying jobs, and we need a community that believes in and that shows that all labor has dignity. This council can show that, and apparently we're not going to do it tonight, but we can. Y'all don't need to study for months more to figure out what the market is or how little you can get away with paying a overwhelmingly black sanitation workforce, right? You did that in one day, one night, gave a minimum starting salary of $60,000 to the police. Now, the police deserve that. That's great. I'm for that. But that took you one night, and it puts us out of line with the rest of the state, right? The average cop in North Carolina makes $19 an hour. In Rocky Mount now, a starting cop, the lowest you can make, is $29 an hour. We are paying sanitation workers less than they're paying in Durham, and in Durham, they're out. They're not working because they're demanding more money. We're paying them less than we do in Raleigh. As you all know, Dr. King was assassinated in Memphis supporting sanitation workers who were about to go on strike. And a few weeks before, he was talking to laborers there, saying that all labor has dignity. And he said, one day, our society will come to respect the sanitation worker if it is to survive. For the person who picks up our garbage in the final analysis is as significant as the physician, for if he doesn't do his job, diseases are rampant. All labor has dignity. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Dr. Thomas L. Walker to the podium.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your patience. Mr. Mayor and City Council members, I am here to speak to the council about the importance of supporting all of our workers, but especially our sanitation workers. I'm pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church, 652 Raleigh Road. I've been pastor there since 1970, actually for 53 years. And I've seen a lot of things come and go in this city, including the makeup of the city council. We struggled back in the 60s to get representatives on this council. Representatives we feel will be more sensitive to the needs of all the people. Amen. And we brought through our representatives suits, federal suits, and now we find ourselves going over the same thing over and over again. It's one of the worst things you can have is amnesia. And this council apparently has it in 1968 when we struggled over the insensitive actions of a city manager locking up a member of the sanitation workers for simply picking up some clothing that was left on the trash can. And it brought this city, in my opinion, to its knees. We should learn from that it's hard hat workers that runs our city. Excuse me, city manager, but if you don't show up for work for a few days, who cares? But let the sanitation workers not pick up trash in this city. We should not have amnesia. Let me just say to you that a 15% raise for our sanitation workers, why does that seem so significant to some? Well, one reason it seems because they're the bottom, and we can continue to accept them being on the bottom, or we can make take some action to bring them up. Insensitivity, just not being sensitive to the needs of the least of these is a problem. In a few days, our president will be out marching with workers.
Thank you, Dr. Walker.
Okay, I just want to say the last words. I got a walker here, but I'll be right out there on this walker with these sanitation workers if we don't do something to help them.
Thank you, Dr. Walker. I'd like to invite James Wren to the podium.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Councilman. My name is James Wren. I'm the past president of the UE 150 chapter of the Rocky Mountain Engine Plant, and also vice president of Phoenix Historical Society of Edgecombe County. And I'm here today to put our support behind the pay raise proposed by Councilman Knight and others for sanitation workers. As Reverend eloquently put forward by the speakers in front of me, the sanitation workers and the workers of Rocky Mountain need fair treatment. 5 years ago, this council apologized for the actions of 1978 and recognized sanitation workers, and even to the point of having a sign put up honoring Alexander Evans. But that's well and good, but it needs to be not just a sign, but continued action. So when if the police get a raise without discussion, 35% raise, then it should be incumbent to support sanitation workers. UE 150 stands behind the Rocky Mountain Sanitation, just like we're doing in Durham and Charlotte, where they want a $22 an hour minimum rate for sanitation workers, and we're here to put our support behind and ask this council to reconsider what Councilman Knight put forward earlier, to put this on the floor for a positive vote. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Ms. Nathlin O'Ree to the podium.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Manager, City Council members, and those present. I said I wasn't coming to this City Council meeting, but somehow the Spirit of the Lord directed me through several phone calls to show up to ask you for a mutual agreement between you and the city workers for some consideration for the work that they do. It doesn't seem like an impossible task. It doesn't seem like we should have to wait for another hurricane to come through and threaten us. You know, God was good to us this weekend. He let that hurricane go on over, but he's speaking to us and telling us to be aware of how we treat one another and love one another and to keep ourselves prayed up. And I've been praying for the city council to come to some mutual agreement with the sanitation workers, and I was glad to hear about consideration for the other city workers, because that's what keeps this city on the rise, the people that work here. And the more that they do, that inspires the rest of us citizens to be better citizens in the city. And it takes the whole village to keep this city moving. So please, I don't know what your personal agendas are, but consider the value of making a positive step in our city for our city workers so that the self-esteem of everybody will be uplifted. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to ask Mr. Arnie Jones to the podium.
Good afternoon, council members, mayor, and city councilmen. I'm gonna keep it short and brief tonight. I'm not gonna keep you long. But the last time I was here, we had 90 days. But TJ Walker said to us, "We got your back. We're gonna make sure you take care of us." We didn't hear anything from that 90 days. Nothing. Not even what you're gonna do, what you're gonna try to do, or any kind of report of anything of any sort. We don't know what's going on with that. We just wanted answers for that. We work hard, and this city knows we work hard. And and like Reverend Walker just said, you got to stand behind it. We somebody. We are part of this city. We're a cog in the wheel like everybody else. We want our due respect. We ain't asking for the ceiling, but like I said, we want to get up off the floor. You know what I'm saying? We want to be somewhere in the middle of what we got to do. You know what I'm saying? Just sweep us under the rug. We work hard. And y'all see every day when you come outside, see that trash can empty? Roll it back to your house. We done our job for the day. We did what we supposed to do. When that job is not done anymore, what are you looking for? We keep the city from germs, infections, and doing a job that half of you in here would even consider doing. But we want some respect on that, for what we do. Like I said, you know, you want to put us in the upper echelon of what we're doing, we all unit. We all people. We got to go like Martin Luther King. Dr. Martin Luther King said, we are people. We don't look at color, but it seems like it's coming down to that. You know, it seems like it's coming to that. I don't want to pull that card, but if we have to, we have to. Look out for our people. Look out for your people. We do honest an honest day's work. We want an honest day's pay. What was $1 good 10 years ago ain't what it is in 2023. It's not happening. You see the news. You see what's going on out here in the world. You see the auto dealers, manufacturers shutting it down. You know, you see this. You see this every day. We just want to respect here in Rocky Mount, you know. And I know with every council member here, mayor, city manager, and all, can see what's going on. We just want us to come together, and we all had to come and sit in this room together and come up with a solution. That's fine. We can do that. But please stop overlooking us like we don't deserve to take care of our families and live in check to check. We don't want to do that anymore. We want to be respected and highly graded like everybody else in this city. Like I said, the fire department, the police department, we can understand what they're doing. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Mr. Dancy to the podium.
Good evening. I'm somewhat amazed at how some folk have addressed the council about a wage increase for the sanitation workers. I heard some compare Durham and Raleigh with their pay, but these same folk have not compared no other police department salary. It is sad that one councilman, Granddad, fought for the sanitation workers, and now he's on the wrong side of the sanitation issue. But you see, this is about supporting the new city manager and against Andre Knight. And then you have a candidate who are talking about the city has no plan. Some folk don't know the whole story and putting out half-truths daily. Give the sanitation workers a raise, an increase. When some folk have never worked a real job, they can't relate to how crucial wage increases are. And it is okay to be the first black woman. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this time, I'd like to move on to item number 8 on our agenda, which is the consent agenda. Yes, Councilman Knight, I'll recognize you.
And Blackwell as well.
Okay.
Mayor, I just want to say, I don't, just listening to different presenters who have come to us, Dr. Walker and the others who have come out to support the sanitation workers, and the quote that Mr. Clay Turner read from Dr. King's speech. You know, this has really been taxing on me since the last council meeting. You know, the Bible said Jesus wept, and Jesus knew that Lazarus was dead before he got the news. And I knew this was dead before I even got here. But I had the spirit and the will and the power to bring it before this council and the people. And so I wept privately. And it's a shame that this city can brag about the supermajority, but we can't get an increase passed for our sanitation workers. and our other employees. It's sad when we can approve items that have not been on the agenda for $200,000, and now giving the manager the authorization to go up to $100,000 to buy land at an auction, and we can't even consider our sanitation workers and our other employees who did not receive anything from the comp study. I'm just sick to my stomach. I really am. And it's a shame. And God's going to judge all of us according to our actions and how we treat the least of those. Just keep living and watch God move. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Knight. I'll recognize Councilman Blackwell.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I appreciate it. I'm in quarantine on my last day or two on COVID infection, and I'm very thankful to be able to breathe and to speak. And so with breath in my body that the Lord has given me, I want to make sure I use every ounce of it for the right purpose. I want to just adjure and encourage my council member representatives that, as Dr. King stated when he came to Rocky Mount in 1963, the time is always right to do right. And he stated in that same speech when he talked about the dream of people working together and children's lives being valued at the same rate. He said that the Negro cannot wait. And if we want to feel that we have come beyond matters of race, which we have not, but if we want to feel that way, then what I like to say is that poor people cannot wait. This nation and our council and our economy is built upon everyone having an opportunity to be valued with their lives and their life's work. And we can come to agreement unofficially, all 7 of us, all 8 of us, that we were willing to stand against the powers that be to have a casino be located within our environs because we saw the benefit of economics that it would bring to our region. Then I'm still very hard pressed to understand why we cannot agree, all 8 of us, on the fact that every worker at every level in the city of Rocky Mount should be valued enough to say that we see your work and you deserve the most that we can give. Workers in Durham are striking because wages. Thank you, Councilmember Knight, for keeping this in front of our minds and keeping our consciences activated with the fact that it's always time to do the right thing.
Thank you, Councilman Blackwell, and I'm glad to hear that you're on the mend. Councilman Joyner, I'll recognize you.
I'm going to ask that if the city manager staff would bring back a report to us, what would be the impact of the 15% raise and the 6% COLA, so we can, I'm just asking if we could get a report back on that. What, if we did that, what would be the impact on our budget and other stuff? And so if we could get that report.
Thank you. Any other comments? Anybody else?
Mayor.
Councilman Knight, recognize you.
Yes, and I agree with Councilmember Joyner. I've asked for that the last 100 days because we're over the 90-day mark and have not received the information that I thought the staff was working within those 90 days to bring those numbers back to the full council, that we could look at those and see what the financial impact to our budget, and if we can afford to do that, and if we need to do any other things far as scale back projects or to hold maybe some project that's not a priority at this time, so that we can take care of the work. I would agree and support that we get a report that we can see and analyze. Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to item number 8
Mayor.
on the agenda. Oh, yes, sorry, Councilman Javaris Walker.
I agree with Councilman Joyner, Councilman Knight. Like you said, it's been an issue for a long time. 15% increase, 6% cost of living raise all across the board. So, city manager, I guess we can look at some numbers and see what would that look like, and then we'll take it from there. But we can get some numbers soon to see what it looks like, what would it affect. I'll support that motion to make that happen. So.
Thank you. All right, I believe that brings us to item number 8 on the consent agenda, and I'm looking for a motion to approve, as written in the consent agenda, the tax releases, approve temporary street closing, adopt resolutions and ordinances, approve the water assessment contract, authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute contract on behalf of the city, award bids as recommended, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute contract on behalf of the city, to authorize the purchasing division to issue a PO in accordance with the council's award, and to authorize property acquisition, foreclosure, negotiation of property acquisition. Is there a motion? Motion made by Councilman Joyner. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Javaris Walker. Is there a need for discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk, please call the roll if you'll vote when your name is called.
Councilmember Knight?
Yes.
Blackwell? Blackwell? Joyner?
Yes.
TJ Walker?
That's a yes on Blackwell. I couldn't get the music fast enough. I apologize.
TJ Walker?
Yes.
Daltrich?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Javaris Walker?
Okay, item carries. That brings us to item number 9 on the agenda, which are appointments. Are there any appointments to be brought before the board tonight for consideration?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir, Councilman Daltrich.
within our packet, there's the personal history form for Susan Folta for the Workforce Housing Development Board for Ward 5, and I would appreciate if this council would agree with me to appoint her to the Workforce Housing Development Board.
Any other nominations? Hearing none. Is there a motion to accept Susan Alto?
So, second.
Councilman Joyner made the motion, seconded by Councilman Javaris Walker, I believe, right? Or was it Tom Harris? I'm sorry. Any need for discussion?
You had a question?
Hearing, yes, sir, Councilman Joyner?
Not a question on that. We had thought that we would put on the agenda tonight the committee for the gardening process.
Well,
Okay,
it's on the consent agenda.
Thank you.
Okay.
And, Mayor, I know I spoke with you in the back that Mr. Phillips, is he here? The sickle cell?
Well, can we talk about that after we
Okay.
do the roll call? I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion related to the approval of this nomination? I'll ask the clerk, please call your name, if you'll vote when your name is called.
Councilmember Knight.
Yes.
Blackwell.
Yes.
Joyner.
Yes.
TJ Walker. TJ Walker. Daughtridge.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Javaris Walker.
Then so approved. Councilman Knight, you had something you want to announce related to?
I was looking for Mr. Phillips. He missed the last council meeting when you read the proclamation about sickle cell, and he had an event that Saturday, and I do not see him. So we just want to thank him for the work that he's doing to bring awareness to the disease that affect a lot of African American with that disease, sickle cell. Appreciate all that he continue to do to advocate for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Having no other business to appear before the city council, I now adjourn the meeting.